AI is changing everything from video editing, from image generation, coding, and even sales and lead generation. So if you are still using old method of scraping different websites for emails and all of that manual stuff, then you are going to be left behind, because nowadays everyone is using AI automations to scrape the emails, to email all of them, to basically make all of the flow for the cold emailing. In this tutorial, I'm going to give you two methods where you'll be able to generate thousands of leads completely for free without using any paid API and without paying to any software or SaaS for the data. All of these high quality leads, then you can create an N8N workflow to automate your emailing system, basically having an AI automation which will email on your behalf while you are asleep. So really important video for all of the sales people and lead generation people to scrape thousands and tons of leads without paying literally anything. So you can simply create this workflow which I'm going to show you guys. So that's the workflow which we will be using. It is going to scrape all of the leads and it is going to add those leads to your Google Sheets. All you have to do is just click on this edit fields and then let this system know what type of leads you need to scrape. That is where we will add in the profession, and that is where we will let this workflow know where you want the leads from. So in this case, I'm searching the whole Instagram via Google and searching all of the electricians, and I am fetching one page. So one page have 10 results in Google search. So we are basically adding a search query to Google, and then all of the results will be processed via this workflow, and automatically all of the leads will be added in this Google Sheet. Let's try to fetch 5 pages, meaning 50 results, and try to add in the emails which we have available in this Google Sheet. And I am going to search for financial consultant this time. Okay, perfect. Now I'm gonna click on test workflow. By the way, this workflow will be in the YouTube video description. I'm gonna explain everything, how you can use this and how you can even create this workflow on your own, and then basically use that for the lead scraping. And then at the end of the video, I'm also gonna show you guys how you can basically create a loop. So this will email one by one to all of the leads which have been added in the Google Sheet. So make sure to watch the complete video. Also, there's another method which I'm going to tell you guys, which will be a simpler workflow in order to scrape the leads from the Google. So let's test this workflow to see how many leads I'm going to pull in from this workflow. So I'm going to hit test workflow and let this AI agent work for me while I'll just watch how it performs. Okay, here we have 10 items ready. So on every single loop, it's gonna search the 10 item, because from the Google search API, we are querying it for one page where we have 10 results on each page. That's why there is a loop where it is going to basically loop through every single query, and on every single query, we have 10 items. Perfect. We have 41 items after filtering some of them where we have removed where we didn't get the email. So we have 41 items. If I go to the Google Sheet, you can see that we have lots of emails. Some of them are simply at gmail.com, but we're gonna ignore that and create a more powerful filter to remove out of them. But you can see that we have company names, we have also phone number, and we have emails. So it took like 30 seconds to scrape all of these 42 leads, and you can do like thousands of leads within the matter of minutes. So if you want to learn, make sure to subscribe the channel if you want me to create more videos like this, because I'll be creating a lot of AI automation related videos. So make sure to hit like and subscribe. Okay guys, so I am going to create this whole workflow in order to show you guys. Also at the end of this video, I'm gonna show you guys an easier method for which you don't need to create this whole workflow. You'll be doing that very easily. So make sure to watch the video till the end. So let's create a new workflow where I'm going to show you guys how you can create this workflow in order to scrape the leads and add in via Google Sheet. Also at the end, I'm going to show you how you can create a loop to email every single item one by one. We cannot email all of them at once, because there is a limitation on Gmail API and we can be banned, or IP can get banned. So it's better to email one by one to all of the leads which we have scraped. Okay, so let's start building this workflow. First, I'm gonna add a manual trigger, and then I am going to add a set fields where we will be setting the fields. Okay, so the first which we want is site URL, which we will use for the scraping. Again, I am adding here Instagram.com. You can use LinkedIn. You can also use other website where you might think that there could be email or leads. Okay, here we are going to add profession and site URL, profession, and we need to add pages to fetch. Perfect. For profession, I am going to add electrician as a value for now. For pages to fetch, I'm going to add 5 for now. Okay, let's add in another field which will be email providers. And here we will use at gmail.com or at yahoo.com or at aol.com or at msn.com or at bing.com. Okay, perfect. Click on test step, and here we have our fields set: site URL, profession, pages to fetch, and email providers. Okay, now we will be setting our search query. So let's add another set field where we will set our search query. Okay, I am going to name this field full search query, and in string I'm going to add a static value site double dot, and here within these inverted commas I'm going to drag and drop this site URL. Okay, let's cut and paste it between site URL inverted commas, and sorry, we don't need to add in inverted commas here. We will be doing that for profession. So I'm gonna drag and drop the profession and add this in inverted commas. Then I am going to drag and drop the email providers. Perfect. At the end, you should have something like this: site double dot, instagram.com, whatever the website you are using, then the profession, then we are adding our email or domain names, right? Perfect. Now I am going to add a code node. Perfect. And in the code node, I am going to add this code here, which is basically to create an array for the pages to fetch. So each page has 10. So this is basically for the Google search API. I am going to paste in this code and make sure you have no red line showing up here. So you just need to drag and drop from the previous node. So I'm going to execute the previous node, and here you need to drag and drop this. I'm going to remove this, and I am going to remove this. So within the parse, we will be dragging and dropping these fields. So we will be dragging and dropping the pages to fetch here, and from here base search query we will be adding the complete search query. Perfect. Click on test step, and that's how you should have the result here. So we have these 5 items: page number 1, page number 2, page number 3, page number 4. So these are the queries which we will be giving. The first page will be, the start value will be 1, and here start value will be 11, 21, 31. I'm going to explain these start value and the page number when we add the Google search programming for the scraping. Okay, now we will add a loop. Here the batch size should be 1. I am going to drag and drop this here, remove this one here, remove this here, and add in the HTTP request node. In HTTP request node, we will be sending a request to Google programmable search. So that's where we will create a new programmable search in order to give queries to Google via API. That is one of the search engine which I have already created. We are going to create a new search engine. So let's click on add, and then I'm gonna name it N8N tutorial. And here we can search specific website. We can add if we want to add the search specific site or pages, but we want to search the entire web. So I'm gonna select this. We can have this settings enable if we want to have the image search or if we want to enable the save search. But here we just want to search the entire web and we do not need images, so I don't need to enable that. Let's click on this check mark to create our search. And here we go. So this is our search engine ID, which is basically a programmable search. And through that, we will be giving query to Google search and we will have a JSON return when we give HTTP request to this. Perfect. Now let's click on customize, and here we are going to add in our API. So let's click on get started. And let's first see the pricing here. So we can pricing, where is the pricing? So it should have the pricing here. Overview. So here you can see that we have 1000 queries for $5. But we have 100 search queries per day completely for free. Each search query have 10 results, meaning we can scrape 1000 leads per day completely for free. And we can have this workflow running on the schedule, and it's going to keep scraping the leads on the day-to-day basis. And if you want bulk scraping, you can simply buy this for like $5 for 1000 queries, and each query has 10 results, meaning you will get in $5 10,000 leads. That's really affordable, right? But if you want it to free, you just need to do this here, which is 100 query per day. Perfect. Now let's add in the key. Click on this get started from programmable search engine.google.com. After creating our programmable search, I'm going to click on get a key. And here I'm going to select the project. This is basically a Google Console project. So if you have a Google Console, it is going to basically display the project here. And once you select the project, click on next, and we will now see our API key. Perfect. We have our API key. Now we are going to go to the list for adding all of our parameters. So I'm going to click on list, and here is the HTTP request URL, which we need to add into our HTTP request node. I am going to do this here, and we are using the method get, right? So here we have get methods. Here we have the URL. Authentication, we don't need that. Send query parameters. Here I am going to define the query parameters. So first, this is our ID. Let's add in the ID after the API. So I'm gonna add the API. I think it's by the name of API or key. Okay, here we will add our API key in the value. I'm going to copy my API key and then paste it here. And then we are going to add our ID. So if we search, if we take a look at this parameter where we need a programmable search engine ID. So let's add in that CX. The programmable search engine ID which we have created is this here. So that's our search engine ID. Let's copy that. and then paste it here. Now we have some other parameters which we will be adding, like we have it on our here queue, that is where we will give our query, and this is the num, which is every single query will have 10 maximum results. We can reduce that, but we cannot exceed the 10. It is from 1 to 10. And this is basically the value where it will start from. So if I go to start here, you can see that if we want first 10 results, we will start from 1. If we want the second page from 11 to 20, we will start from 11, and then 21, then 31, then 41, and so on. That's why we created an array to add this start field, right? So let's add in our query now. Let's execute the previous nodes. And here we have our query, which we're gonna drag and drop here. And we are going to add a start, and we are going to drag and drop our start value, and we are going to add num. I think that's num, right? Yep. So the each query is going to have 10 results. Again, we can reduce that. So if we reduce it to 5, it is going to respond 5 results on one single query, but we don't want that. We want 10 results on one single query. We cannot exceed from 10 results, as this is the requirement. So if we take a look at here, you can see that we need to add in values between 1 to 10. Perfect. We have our HTTP request created, and if I test the step, you can see that we have our result showing up here. So that's the result. Perfect. Okay, now we have this one JSON object, which we will change it to list. So we have each item on a different JSON object, on a separate JSON object. And for that, we are going to use a split and turn a list inside items into separate items. So each item within that will be a separate item in the list, right? So let's do that. And here I am going to drag and drop our item where it is, queries, contacts, items. Okay, here I'm gonna drag and drop from here to here, and then test the step. And here we have all of the stuff which we need. Perfect. Now we are going to add an AI agent which will process our data. Perfect. And here we are going to define below our prompt, and the prompt which we will add is here. So that's the prompt which we will use. Again, all of that stuff will be in the YouTube video description. Also, the template of that workflow which I'm creating will be available, so don't need to worry about that. I am going to copy and paste this whole prompt and then paste it to my agent, and make sure that this title, HTML title and snippet it's from here. So here we have a snippet, here we have HTML title, and here we have our title, right? So you can simply, if it's not green, then you need to drag and drop it from here. So let me show you. So you're just gonna do this like title, and then HTML title, then the snippet. That's what we need in order to make this prompt work for us. Perfect. Now let's add in our chat model. I'm gonna click on chat model, and then I'm going to add my Gemini chat model. And I already have the API key added. If you're not seeing the API key, you will need to create new credential and add in your API key. It's really simple to create an API key. All you have to do is just go to aistudio.google.com and then click on get API key. There you will find your API key, and you will paste the API key here and then click save. That will create your credential. And in the model, I am going to select 2.5 Flash or 2.5 Pro preview. So let's do Flash preview here. Perfect. We have our AI agent ready to go. And now I am going to test the step to see if it works properly. Okay, you can see that we have our output showing up. We have 10 items where we have name and email and all of that kind of stuff. Perfect. Now let's add in the code node in order to make this output in a way, formatted in a way so it can be added into the Google Sheet. And for that, I am going to add a code node. And in the code node, I am going to copy this code here. Again, don't need to worry about any of that. You will find all of that in the video description. So I'm going to copy and paste the code here. And let's hit test the step to see if it works. Okay, it is running an AI agent again, and then it's going to provide the output to the code node. And we will have our output here. Okay, you can see that we have 10 items ready to go, and these are in a format which can be added into Google Sheet. Perfect. Now we are going to add in the filter, and we will be filtering out all of the item where we don't have the email. So let's see here. We don't have an email which says NA, and similarly there are other results where we are not receiving any email. So we are going to filter those out. So I am going to add a filter, and here I am going to drag and drop my email, and I am going to select is not empty. So it makes sure that it is not empty. I'm going to add another condition which will be email does not contain NA. So it should not be NA, or it should not be empty, right? So I'm going to test the step. Still going to execute the previous node. That is really weird. It shouldn't be executing the previous node. Basically should do the same with the data, but let's check it out. Okay, here you can see that we received 10 items in our code node, but now it is being filtered. It's filtered 4 items, so it discarded these items where we don't have email, right? And kept the items where we have the email. Perfect. Now we are going to connect this with our loop. So the reason we are doing the loop is because we can get only 10 results on one query, and we cannot exceed that. So we need to give multiple queries if we want to have more than 10 results. And in the first edit fields, we have defined it pages to fetch. So every single page has 10, and 5 pages is going to have 50 results, right? Now we are going to add a wait node. So it will collect all of the data here, wait for 1 second. It will collect all of the late data here, wait for 1 second, and then push it to our Google Sheet. So I'm going to search Google Sheet, add the node, and append or update raw in Sheet. That's the action which we will select. And I have already connected my Google Sheet account. If you don't know how to connect your Google credentials with N8N, I have created a separate tutorial. Link is in the description. Okay, let's find our document. I am going to use the same one, which is called generate leads. Oops. Okay, and in the generate leads document, we just have one sheet, and I'm going to map. Okay, let's do the wait first. Still going to execute the previous node. Okay guys, you can see that we have 7 items here, and now we need to map these columns to our Google Sheet. I'm going to open the Google Sheet, and here we need to column to match on. I'm going to drag and drop my email. So select email here, and then email, drag and drop your email, drag and drop your name, drag and drop your phone number, drag and drop your company, And if you have a website, drag and drop the website URL. Perfect. We have our Google Sheet mapped. And now I am going to test this workflow completely to see if it works, and pasting our email. So I'm going to remove all of the emails from here. And then I am going to click on test workflow. You can see we have 10 items from our HTTP request. It is processing via AI agent. Okay, and our 5 items have been processed and added into the Google Sheet. Here we go. You can see that we have 5 emails from the query which we gave. And now the second method which I'm going to tell you, which is super simple and easy to use. You just need to google.com. Also make sure to watch the remaining part, but I'm going to show you how you can email these with a Google Sheet, right? So here I'm basically going to give a query, which is site ... and then website. In this case, let's do instagram.com. And then within profession, I am going to give it, let's say, plumbers. And then let's add gmail.com, or similarly at yahoo.com. Similarly, what we did here in the full search query. So that's what we gave it to the Google. So I can simply copy it from here as well and just simply paste it. It is going to perform the same as it did in our case. So let's search it. And here you can see that we have these results showing up. Now all you need to do is just copy all of that and then go to ChatGPT or any of the LLM model. I'm going to go to my AI studio and then let's try ChatGPT. So I'm going to go to ChatGPT and then I am going to copy this and then add the prompt. The prompt should be that it needs to be formatted in a proper way, and the prompt is what we have it here. Please provide only the markdown table in your response, right? And format the data below into the markdown table with these. So I'm just gonna copy this and paste it here. And here we will paste the data from this search here. So just copy it, paste it, and let's see what it gives. Here you go. You can see that our data is being formulated. We are scraping the leads via ChatGPT. Cool, right? So now we can simply copy it and paste it into our Google Sheet. Here we go. You can see that we have our data showing up, and now we need to email them one by one. And in order to do so, what we will do in our first method is first create a loop. And here I am going to select the batch size to be 1. And then in here, we are going to email them one by one. So these 5 items will be emailed one by one. I'm going to add my email node, Gmail, send a message. And here, so first we'll need to preview. Okay, here. Now we have our data. Now in order to email, I need to email this person. Subject should be anything, whatever you like. My subject line. My subject line, and message should be whatever message you want to send them. My email body, I'm just going to type in, and now it is going to email all of my Google Sheet item one by one. How cool is it? Cool, right? And for the second method, I'm going to create a new workflow. So simply add in the Google Sheet node here. And here we can say on row added. Whenever a new row is added, I'm going to select the same credentials. Okay. we will need to create a new credentials for that. That's weird. Google Sheet trigger. Okay, so I'm not gonna create the new Google Sheet credentials because I've already created that video for you guys. I am going to pause and then connect my Google credentials here. Okay guys, I have connected my Google Sheet credentials, and now we can choose if we want to send email every minute, every hour, or every day. Every minute, I think it's fine. If you send one email every single minute, it's not gonna flag your Gmail email account. So you can do that. Let's select from the document. I'm going to select the same document as generate leads, and we just have one sheet. So I'm going to select the worksheet here, and whenever the new raw is added, it is being basically trigger this node, and it is going to simply connect the data. So I'm just gonna try that. So let's remove that and paste it in here. I'm gonna click on test workflow, and then I'm going to add this email here, and you can see that it executed successfully. It will show up the data here. And now I am going to add an email node from my Gmail to send a message to the person, right? So let's do the same thing again. Do email, subject line, whatever you want to add in, message, whatever you want to add in. So it is going to keep emailing those whoever will be added into the Google Sheet. Ideally, you would want to create a loop where you would do that one by one. If you are posting 10 raws at once, you do not want to send email to all of them at once. You will need to create a loop. Here you can create simply a loop where you can select the batch to size to be 1, and from here you can simply then connect the email node here. So connect it from here, connect it from here, and then you can simply do the same thing again with the loop node, right? And then reconnect it with the loop. So it is basically going to run the loop and send the email one by one. No matter you have 100 new rows added or 200 new rows added, it is going to loop those items, and it is going to add a batch. You can also add a wait. That is really good to add a wait. So after every email, it is going to wait for 1 minute or 2 minutes or whatever time you will add in. So you can simply select 1 minute, and now whenever 10 new items are added to this sheet, it is going to trigger this workflow and then email them one by one after every single minute. So that is the second method, and that is how you can email while you are asleep. So all of your scraping and emailing is automated. Now all you have to do is watch out your inbox to see if anyone is responded. And that's it for the video. Sorry for the long video, but I think it is really important for you to learn how to generate leads in this new AI automation era. Until next video, have a great day.